Hey guys, it's Aiko. I'm an American English pronunciation coach and business coach based in Hawaii. 今日は英語で会話をしようと思うんですけれども、ゲストの方をお呼びしています。So, hello, Miki-san. Thank you very much for coming to my show. Would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much, Aiko-san. For having me, I'm super excited. My name is Miki Sturges. I live in Colorado. I got married with my first husband many years ago. That was my first husband, and I have my second husband. And altogether, I've been here 36 years, and this is my 37th year. And I am a women's empowerment coach, abuse recovery coach, and also certified neuro coach, helping women. So helping women let go of their painful past and overcome long-standing insecurities and get back their power and, step into their worth and their confidence, take back their power so that they can step into the, God-given greatness and create the life they like. So that's what I do now, in the brief, 10 seconds introduction.
Thank you. All right. So I have a few questions that I want to ask today because, we're Japanese. Our native language is Japanese, but, we're speaking English, and I'm pretty sure the audience is curious about how you improved your English, right? So my first question is, so when did you move to the US? I mean, you kind of answered it already, but how was your life at the beginning? And, how was your English at that time?
Okay, so I graduated with English major. So, they call it Eibunka, right? English literature, but we study all the English, and I just loved the language. I wanted to be friends with those people who spoke English. And in fact, I chose a school in Japan. This is in Japan. I chose a school that was sort of famous for their English education, and music. Their music department and English department was very famous in Nagasaki. And I chose that school because I wanted to learn English. My sixth grade, なんていうんだ? Those little, essay, I don't know, when you graduate, you write things, right? In Japan. And I even wrote, I want to be an interpreter at that time. So from that time on, I really wanted to master English. And my goal was to be an interpreter at that time. So yeah, so it was, I think I set my mind to that. And believe or not, my beginning is Sesame Street. Aiko-san, your speaker is muted.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sesame Street. Oh my gosh. The
Yes.
So how was it like?
Okay, so I would say about fourth grade, fifth grade, they had a Sesame Street in NHK. And when I went home from school, every day I could only watch NHK. What is it, Channel 3 or whatever it was at that time. And I would watch Sesame Street. And I was just mesmerized. They talk about A is this and B is that. And I didn't understand whatever, but I love that Sesame Street, so that's all I could say, but I could say that. So I was listening to it. I was always trying to figure out what they were saying. And I just loved Sesame Street. And then, of course, at that time, they didn't. Nowadays in Japan, they get to learn English, right, at school from elementary school. But My age, my age, I think it started in junior high, 中学校. So that's, but even before that, I went to a juku that taught English. So I started learning English a little bit earlier. But the school I went to, because they were mission school, I did the air quote, mission school. And the founder was a foreigner. I believe she was from England. Maybe, sorry, I don't remember. But anyways, she was not a Japanese, and she founded this school, and based in, of course, Christianity. And they had tons of foreign teachers from America, teachers from Scotland, teacher from England. So our English, it was funny. My teachers were American. So my teachers were, I remember, one was from Idaho, one was from Wisconsin, one was from San Diego, and one was from Hawaii. And each person had different pronunciation. And the students who had Scottish accent, British accent, they had different accents. I thought it was interesting. I didn't even realize that until that was like graduation. At the graduation, I wasn't a valedictorian, but my friend was. And she gave a speech in English. And her English was very British because her teacher was British. And I didn't learn from that teacher. I learned from, of course, my teacher, American teacher. And I was like, why is she saying was? I was. And I was like, no, it's I was. And also, stuff like just a little things like that. And I was like, why is she like that? And then I realized later on, some students had that accent and some students learned American accents like me. And so I thought it was interesting, but I think the school decided to just hire people, teachers from America, I think. So it's all became American English at that time. But I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds really, really interesting. And then what made you decide to move to the US? Like obviously you really liked learning English.
Yeah.
So was it like so natural for you to just move to the US?
Yeah. So I, in my school, because it was a private school, a lot of students actually went to America, and then after summer, they'll come back and say, oh, my mama did this. And I'm like, I was so envious, right? And it was junior high school. Every single year from 8th grade on, I told my mom, please, can I go? Please go to America. Can I go to America? And of course, my mom is like, nope, you're too young. No. Every single year. So when I got into college, I didn't even ask my mom, can I go to America? I just said, can I borrow about $5,000? And then my mom said, are you going to America? So I said, yes, I want to go homestay. I want to go to homestay. So she finally said, okay, you're in college now. You can try. So that was the first time I went, I went to this like group thing. It was a homestay. And, that's where I went to California because that was where Disneyland was. So I wanted to go to Disneyland and I chose California, and the host family was very, very nice couple. And, they were actually the one coordinating this group, and I got to stay with them. And they were like, oh, Miki, you should come back. And I really fell in love. I think I was there for a month. My English improved during that time. I was already speaking, but I was shocked how much I didn't know. Like I spoke already English because I had lots of American friends in Japan from school. And this is one thing I wanted to share with everybody. What I did from 8th grade on, every time I saw a teacher who's walking by, they were just teachers, right? So people don't want to talk to them because they're teachers. But I actually went and said, hello, I want to be your friend. That's what I did. And they're so nice, right? So they want to be, so say, oh yeah, what's your name? And they start talking. So that's what I did. I had no fear at that time because it was 8th grade, right? So you have no fear. And I would just go there and say, can I be your friend? And I would just go to and visit, or even college. I said, let's go for a drink, and to my teacher friends. And we became friends, and, I invite them over and we start talking. So I basically really immersed myself to speaking and listening. And I think that's a very, very important thing to do, more so than grammar. Because as you know, Aiko-san, when you live here, a lot of people don't even care about grammar. Do you agree? Even American people, sometimes their grammar is totally, it's like, what? That's wrong, right?
Yeah, I agree, actually. Yeah, especially in Hawaii, the English is a little bit different here. So yeah, I'm learning to be kind of like a flexible, right?
Yeah, you have to be. And it's language is a living thing. To me, it is, so intention is important, right? Intention, you're trying to say something and you use gestures and you try to say the things that the thing that you drink with, or something, if you don't know the word, you just say or point and you try to, and then when they tell you, oh, this is called a cup, then you try to repeat it, but I think that's what I did. I just tried to really focus on listening, focus on talking, and just having conversation. So when I was in college, I taught English conversation to kids, and I did not let them stick with grammar. I just say, okay, you listen. So I learned that in school, which was, I thought it was good. So I would say something like this. You go like this, with a picture. What is this? And the kids will say giraffe, or pig, or, whatever it is that we're practicing. And I think that's super important to say, listen, say and listen. And when I taught a little Japanese to American kids in my, kids school, and I did the same thing. I did not, of course, writing is important and reading is important. They want to do that because such a art, for them, American people. So I taught that, but I did the same thing. I said, これは何ですか? あ、キリンです。これは何ですか? ネックレスです。Stuff like that. I think that's so important to just start like increasing your vocabulary and listening and speaking.
It's really interesting to hear your story because you did so much in Japan to prepare to speak English, right? And then you just mentioned that, so in California, you realized that you were missing.
Yeah.
A lot. So how did you feel? Like I didn't really prepare in Japan. So when I came to the US, I did not speak well. I didn't understand what they were saying at all. And I wasn't able to make very simple sentences like where are we kind of stuff. Like I didn't even know how to say like ここはどこ? Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. I didn't even know how to express myself at all. But you prepared a lot, and then you're still saying that you were kind of shocked. So how was it like at that time then?
Well, first of all, in Japan, all my friends, they knew I was learning. So they're very kind to me, right? When you're talking to me, they're kind to me. They're, oh yeah, Miki is beginner or she's just, learning. Therefore, they won't speak like difficult language or they won't say anything slangish. But when I came here, I actually went to, and lived in a dorm, UC Riverside dorm. And of course, those are kids, right? The college kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds running around, and it was co-ed. And I went to a girls' school. So I was like, whoa, there are men here. Oh my goodness, And, the way they spoke, oh my goodness, I was like, okay, what does that mean? So there were lots of F words, lots of S words, tons of slangs. And when I came to the US for the first time, I went to, live with the host family. They were Christians and they were very nice people and they did not talk like that. And of course, again, they were host family. Therefore, their language was clean and very nice. They would speak slowly to us and they would explain to me, this is what you say, this is what you do. When you go to get a burger, this is what you say, that type of thing, right? But when you go into living in a dorm with a bunch of college kids, all these language, and I'm like, oh, that's how they say it, So when I visited my host family, I did not know that was a bad language. So I was saying things like F and S and my friend said, oh, Miki says these things. And my host mom says, oh no, Miki, please don't. And then I didn't understand why. I was like, why? Is that bad? And she was like, it's more than bad. So please don't say it. I was like, okay. But how everybody talks. So, and then of course that's, after that I transferred to actual college. And that's where I met my first husband. But he was talking like that. So of course I was imitating or, I wanted to be a native speaker. That's everybody wants that, right? And, Aiko-san, I watched one of your videos and you talked about there's no way we will be like exactly native. And that's true because we never grew up here. Even though a lot of people, thank you so much for saying this, but a lot of people say my English is really good. People can tell, I have some type of accent. I used to do a customer service and people say all kinds of things. Are you from like British? Do I have British accent? Yeah, you have some type of accent. I was like, yeah, guess again. Europe? I was like, no, I'm Japanese. So they couldn't figure out what accent I had. But anyway, we can never really be a native speaker. And that's for sure. So you have to understand that. We have to understand that we should be okay with having accents. And accents are beautiful, actually. Even American people, Aiko-san, you already know, Hawaii has its accent, like a dialect. And Coloradans, they have different accents. And in Californians, because I sort of grew up in California. I was in California for 20 years, first 20 years that I was there. So I learned to talk like a Valley girl. You know what that is? Valley girl.
I love like, it. Oh. Can you do it?
Yeah, something like that. When you start talking, for sure. I'll go to your house for sure. You know what I mean? That it's just like, and I didn't realize that because everybody else was talking like that. Therefore, I picked it up, right? And my sons, they grew up here because even though they were born in California, we moved here when they were very tiny. So when they say, we say mountain, right? Like California, we say mountain or Montrose. There's a town called Montrose here, and they say Montrose, mountain. And my sons, especially the youngest, he was 9 or 10 months old when he came here. So basically, he's Coloradan, and he says that he said Montrose, mountain, fountain instead of fountain. Mountain, so stuff like that. So it's interesting how it's different from each one. That's accent, right? So we don't have to be ashamed that we have accents. Mm-hmm. But of course, you want to speak as close as possible, right?
Yeah, I really love it the way that you said like it's okay to have an accent, and also you just said accents are beautiful. So I really love learning different accents. So right now, like I'm checking out like a Liverpool accent.
Oh.
In UK, their accent is very different and beautiful, so I'm like really curious about learning accents, but at the same time, like accepting our own Japanese accent is like really important because I really struggled here in the US because I wanted to be a native English speaker, and I realized I can't not be a native English speaker. And I was like really shocked. So like, my clients are going through that kind of moment too. But you said like, you just accept, accepting your own accent, and then, no shame, right? So I really like that.
Yeah, it can't, don't get me wrong. I came a long way. I could not laugh at my accent. I could not take, like my husband would say, oh, that's not what you say. Even my sons, they make fun of me. It's like, Mom, years, not years. I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. It's like, Mom, year. I'm like, okay, but now they call it Mickeyism. So I have my Mickeyism, I'm sure you have Aikoism. So, I finally came to a point where I said, fine, that's fine. That's Mickeyism. I love it. So that's what I always say, like clumsy and clumsy. I was like, what is it? Clumsy or clumsy? And I always mix it up, so I was like, oh yeah, that's clumsy, but that's how it is. Sometimes we get it, sometimes don't, even after 30 some years. And my husband's family, they have a big vocabulary. So I've learned a lot of new vocabulary, and then every so often, my husband will say something. I was like, what does that mean? And he'll explain, or I look it up, So there are a lot of words that I don't know still, so it's okay. Life is a journey. Life is a learning journey, and I just enjoy it.
I really love it. Like, it's okay, right?
Like, it's okay.
Yeah. So you are right now providing a business in
coach.
Coaching business to English speaking people.
Yeah.
So like, how did you, I mean, we're gonna record another episode for the business channel later, but just curious, like I will be really nervous to do that, right? But I am trying to do it. So I just started, but it took me a while to decide to do it because of the mindset. So how did you have that mindset to be able to start your business in the English, in the English speaking market?
Yeah. It's funny, but I didn't think about it. And actually, I was afraid to speak Japanese. So I did not want to start to get into Japanese market because I was so comfortable in English. I didn't even think about it. It was like, it was natural for me. Okay, English. And I came to a point where I don't even think about like race, or I don't think about my accent. I just wanted to, provide this service. And the things that I've learned, for example, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and those, women who are struggling with that after they leave, that's who I coach. But, they lose identity, they lose confidence, they lose like, who am I kind of things, And so I learned things in English. So I don't think in Japanese. And so that was natural to me. So I can't really pinpoint, like when you asked me that, I was like, that was like, I live in the United States, and that's a natural progression to, to just reach out to those who are, here locally, or even in this market. I live in the United States. So I didn't think about that. And also, ever since I moved to the United States, I made almost like a vow to really immerse myself in English. So I stopped reading Japanese books. I only read English books. And to this day, I do read Japanese books, but much slower. And sometimes I can't read kanji, and I'm like, okay, and I have to read English version first to get to Japanese version. So, so that's my story. I had a hard time getting into Japanese market. Even though I speak Japanese, I'm okay with Japanese. But it's my mindset. Once again, it's my mindset. I was like, okay, who is going to relate to me? What if I start speaking, it's called Japanglish, right? I start speaking Japanglish, then they don't understand. Like when I was talking to my mom's gone now, but when I was talking to my mom would say, I would say, Mom, 私のピックアップに行ってくるから。Right? And then she's like, 何ピックアップ？あ、そっか。ピックアップ。お迎え行ってくる。You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you do that, Aiko-san, right? I'm sure you do.
I do. I'm forgetting a lot of Japanese words. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do that. And I mean, especially if you live in this country so long time, because that's what you speak. That's what you speak. English is what you speak. So I was forgetting, and I had a hard time, but several coaches pushed me, hey, you can speak Japanese. What are you talking about? You're Japanese. Man, I was like, oh, you're right. So I actually love working with Japanese people. So, that's what I'm focusing on right now. But so it was flipped on my case.
That's really, really interesting. Wow. Well, thank you very much for sharing your stories. It's like I have a lot of questions, but I want to
of course
record another episode for business. So
yes.
I'm curious to know more about your business. So if people want to check out your service, how and where can they find you?
Oh, yeah. So I am active on Facebook, Instagram, and also MikiSturges.com, my name.com. And yeah, people can DM me, and I'm nice enough to respond.
All right, that's great. So
And actually, I do have YouTube channel, but I just haven't been active. So we'll probably start doing that.
okay, so I'm gonna put all the website addresses and with that with the YouTube channel address
Awesome.
here so that they can find you there.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so thank you very much, Miki-san, and we're gonna
ありがとうございます。
record another episode. ありがとうございます。